I'm Cindy Mae Johnson, and these are my guests today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I will say you guys are here from Appalachian Tanks, right?
Correct.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves.
I'm Elmon Walters. I'm the business administrator at Appalachian Tank.
And I'm Neil Green, and I'm the general manager at Appalachian Tank.
Thank you. So the reason we're here today is we talk about Appalachia Works, which is, I think, a very interesting title for this podcast because it's not just about the working world. It's about the fact that this region works in many ways. It works geographically. It works economically. It just works. And Appalachian Tanks, at least coming from me, I think is a little known asset in the region. I don't think a lot of people know what you guys do, how you do it, where you do it, how long. I mean, it's just an unknown except to the people who are working with you. And that's a small number in a way. So we got a lot of people who are going to be exposed to some great information about something that's working very well here in Appalachia. So maybe I'll start with you, Neil. Just give us a little bit of history of Appalachian Tanks.
All right. Well, Appalachian Tank is part of Platinum Tank Group, and we have 3 other locations, three of which actually are in Canada, and now we are the only U.S.-based operation. It's a family-run business and has been in the tank industry for over 40 years. And we were basically looking for an opportunity to grow our company. And through a series of coincidences or circumstances, we were able to find out about the location in Pikeville, and we wanted to create a production environment here. We felt like it was a good opportunity for us and that it would also be good for the community. We build tankers, tank trailers, and truck tanks for the petroleum industry, and our location is specifically dedicated to doing truck tanks for that industry. And we brought a lot of the resources and experience to the community to be able to come in and basically start from square one. When we started in 2022, there was Elmon and myself.
2021.
2021, technically, there were 5 people, and now we have grown that into, we have just over 50 people working for us now. And it truly has been a success story, and we've been able to utilize the talents and the attitude of people in the area to make that a success. So that success has come from a group effort, not just one individual.
Well, Elmon shared with me, we spoke last week, and he shared that you all ship out about 4 tanks a week, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's impressive because these are, and you need to talk a little bit about this, I think, aluminum tanks, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Which is special.
Yes, correct.
Well, maybe, I don't know a whole lot about tanks, so tell me a little bit about why an aluminum tank is special.
Well, in the industry overall, the 3 main materials that are used are either carbon steel, stainless steel, or aluminum. Because our industry is regulated by the U.S. Department of Transportation, they have very strict guidelines around design and manufacturing process and the testing process, and then subsequent to all of that, how these units are inspected every year, every 2 years, every 5 years. Because when petroleum leaks, bad things happen. And so we are a very highly regulated industry. Aluminum is the most difficult to manufacture because of the characteristics of the alloys that we have to use, which are dictated by U.S. DOT. And so teaching a welder how to weld aluminum becomes a task within a task. We have had a lot of people with experience welding steel because of the coal mining industry, where a lot of the heavy equipment is made from steel, not aluminum. And we have been able to work with Big Sandy Technical College. In our first year, we created a program unique to what we do at Appalachian Tank and in our industry for aluminum tankers to help people with some welding experience learn, adapt, and be able to become proficient at welding aluminum. And we ran that actually for 2 years. And the first 20 plus people that we hired were actually graduates of that program. Since then, we've been able to have enough of a core group who are quite good at what they do now that we could do a lot of our training in-house for new employees. So aluminum is unique because of the way it melts when you weld. We have to use a certain alloy, which is different than other alloys. With aluminum, there's a broad range of alloys that can be used. And so that's what makes welding aluminum tankers quite unique. The equipment that we use is also different. We use systems that are what are called push-pull, which means we have long leads, so between the wire feeder and the power source, and where the gun is that the welder will use, in our case, are 30-plus feet long. Because of the column strength or lack of strength with aluminum wire, we push it at the power source, and it gets pulled at the gun. So that means that becomes part of the training component for our welders. A lot of folks who have been welding with steel or stainless don't have experience with push-pull systems. Each system is roughly $25,000. And so it's an expensive piece of equipment, and it's not difficult to use, but it's very different than if you're welding steel, which would be the easiest to do of the three main metals.
So it's very specialized.
Yes, ma'am. Very much so.
Let's talk just a little bit then about the people who do that. And I know that you worked with BSCTC to help train, but Elmon and I had talked about this before. We both grew up here and have lived here almost all of our lives. There are some really common misconceptions about the labor force in this region. Elmon, you shared with me, and I thought this was really brave that you said it, that you also had a misconception at one time.
Yes, I did, until we actually started interviewing students, or whatever you want to call them, that went to our Big Sandy Technical College classes. I knew we had a good workforce, but I was still sort of worried about the conception of the drug use, and that, nobody wants to work, but we have found that to be quite opposite. Pretty much everybody that has applied for work and we've hired has had no problem with, they all have good attitudes. They show up for work, and we really have no drug problems with people that's came in and applied for our jobs.
So what you're saying is that you found a workforce ready to work,
Yes.
able to be trained to do what you needed them to do, and now after 4 or 5 years, going strong.
That's correct. A lot of our labor force is coming from the mines, and those guys, when you're 3 miles underground and your piece of equipment breaks down and you're laying on your side to try to fix it, you can't run down to the auto parts store and pick up something.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be pretty much hands-on and be able to think logically to repair your equipment so you can get back to work. And we have quite a few of the older people that's working at Appalachian Tank has came from the mine industry and have done quite well.
I think that's an important point to make. Another thing that we've talked about, and I wonder if you, Neil, because you're not originally an Appalachian, although we can claim you now. Okay? Right? Because you do have a place here. We're considering you for membership. How's that?
Thank you.
But did you have any perceptions about Appalachia, the workforce, about any restrictions or barriers?
Not really. I mean, maybe ignorance is bliss, but I did not.
Good.
I did not.
Glad
I probably
to hear that.
learned more about the concerns and the challenges once we actually got into developing Appalachian Tank. But as to echo what Elmon was saying, that's really not been our experience. I think part of it is we try to do a good job in interviewing people and selecting people. And I think really my approach has been that you can teach skills. It's hard to teach values.
Yes.
So we look at the person. And yes, the skills and different things, the work experience that they can bring to the table are important, but they're not everything.
Mm-hmm.
And we have seen some people that we've interviewed who maybe had the skills but didn't have the right attitude. And so we typically will steer away from those folks. But I think our success to a large extent has been the way that we have interviewed and offered positions to people and looking at who they are as a person, what their values are, and what they're looking for. For us, we're looking for folks who want to come in, make a commitment, get trained, grow roots, and stay a while. We're not looking for someone who's looking for the next 10 cents, $1 an hour more. If those folks would do better to go somewhere else. And we're pretty transparent about that. We want people to understand who we are. We came here to make a long-term commitment. One of the things that I learned after the fact from Elmon and others is, oh yeah, lots of businesses come in, they get access to grant money, and they make a lot of promises, and within 2 to 3 years they're gone. And that's not our corporate culture. That's not the way we treat our people or our commitment. I've been with this company, this year will be 31 years, so that's been a long time. And that has a lot to do with how we're run as an organization. Our owner and CEO, Tony Roberts, it's about people before it is about business, because you need people to make it work. You get the right people, you do the right training, you've got good foundation to build from.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what we've been able to do here.
So you've been in the business 30-some years. Where have you been before here?
A lot of places.
Give me the Reader's Digest
The
version.
Reader's Digest. Well, of course, Manning, South Carolina.
Okay.
And then Omaha, Nebraska. And then I had to work for 13, didn't have to, but I was asked to work in Vancouver, British Columbia for 13 years, all part of the same company. We have a facility on the West Coast. So we actually lived in Washington State, close to the border. Because of some of the security clearances I was able to obtain, I was able to cross the border every day and go into Canada to work and then come back into the U.S. at the end of my workday, and did that for 13 years. And then in the last year there is when the whole idea of coming to Pikeville, Kentucky came up.
So it's an interesting route that you took to get here, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, one of the things that I think I need to make a point about, or that you guys do, is that Appalachian Tank isn't selling tanks to local businesses.
Correct.
You're shipping them out of here. And we talked about how quickly you can get them delivered. So let's talk a little bit about that. And the reason I bring it up, and Elmon and I have talked about this in the past, there is sometimes a perception that we're not right on a major interstate. But what does that mean to you all?
Well, go ahead.
No, I mean, I was just going to say, we ship to 5 states. We ship to South Carolina, Alabama, Pennsylvania, Iowa, and Illinois.
Okay.
All of our tanks can be delivered within a day's drive. If we're going to Iowa, they pick them up on Sunday and they're there on Monday morning. So the conception or the belief that we don't have a major interstate running through eastern Kentucky has not been an obstacle. We're so centrally located in the U.S., I feel, that we can be almost probably to around 80% of the states within one day. And that's, as far as logistics go, that's pretty convenient.
It is. And it's, I think somehow, even if you can look at a map, people don't recognize that. We're really not in an isolated place. We're right central to everything.
Yes.
Is that fair?
That's fair, I think.
Agree.
Okay.
Agree.
A question I would ask, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it will. A question I would ask is, if someone or some entity was considering relocating, looking for a place, small manufacturer, they need to find a workforce, they need to find the space for it, and they asked you for advice about this area, what would you tell them?
Well, if they were a competitor to us, we would tell them no, or not
No,
tell
thank
them
you,
anything,
sir.
or tell them
Yeah.
how bad it is here. But, if it was an industry non-related or something supportive to our industry, I mean, basically we would share our experience and we'd encourage them to pursue that.
That's to me the ultimate point to make is that you have had a wonderful experience. You're planning to stay here for a long time, and you're growing.
Yes, ma'am.
And we still have qualified individuals that that fill out applications every day. Unfortunately, we can't hire everyone. So our workforce here in Eastern Kentucky, I feel like it's second to none.
And just to build on that point, compared to our other facilities, I believe we're the, excuse me, the only one that actually has an abundance of applications. We have facilities that can't hire. There's just nobody coming in the front door or applying online. So we have the opposite set of conditions to most of our other facilities, which makes them envious of us. But you can tell that in a larger context, this is a place where you can come and you have a good chance of being able to hire folks.
I mean, that's very powerful because difficulty in hiring and retaining good people is common everywhere. I mean, you hear that all the time from my peers all over the country. I hear that all the time. It's not necessarily the case here. People in Appalachia are kind of different in a good way.
A lot of people in Appalachian, they want to stay here. They do not want to move, but unfortunately, a lot have moved away. So hopefully if we can encourage more industry to move in, then the people that are still here can stay and maybe some of them can come home.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
That's certainly what we're working toward, all of us. We'd love to see that happen. Is there anything I haven't asked you all about that you think would be interesting? Because there is a tremendous interest in Appalachia in general. I'll just throw my glasses in the floor. Don't worry about those. But all over the world, people want to know about our region. I think we're somewhat misunderstood. And if not misunderstood, then just not known much about. So I think there will be people who watch this podcast who, are somewhat surprised to learn the things that we're talking about, but also might be thinking, well, I need to look more into that. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think would be helpful for them?
No, I mean, I think it is just making people more aware of the qualities of folks here and what they can bring to the workforce. And I think that's really important because I think when most people hear about southeastern Kentucky, they think about the Hatfield and the McCoys.
Yes.
And of course, that's part of the history, and that's good. On the other hand, there's a lot more to the area. And I think being able to get past just that, I think is really important. And, that's one of the things that's been a real blessing to me is to find that you have people here who have a lot of, just grassroots mentality, willing to work, willing to learn, and you, as an employer, you can't ask for more than that. I think so. I think being able to get that word out beyond just the local community, I think would be very appealing to a lot of companies.
Absolutely. When BitSource started 10 years or so ago, they started teaching out-of-work coal miners to write code. And it's such a great experience to see what's worked for them and what is now working for you, because you said a lot of your people formerly worked in the mines.
Yes.
And it did grow a culture of a strong work ethic and innovation, being able to change on the fly and do what needs to be done. So it's really kind of an amazing resource we've got.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And it's proven itself out.
Absolutely.
In our case.
So I know there are going to be people who watch this and go, well, it sounds like a good place to work. And I know they said they're not hiring right now. But what would you tell someone to do if they wanted to get into this line?
Do you want me? Go ahead.
Well, there's several options. Of course, you can do we've worked with Miller Vocational School quite a bit. I think when we first started, we donated 4 aluminum welders to them.
Correct.
And we have had good success hiring students straight out of high school. And right now we have 3 interns working.
Correct.
From Miller Vocational School. They work around 20 hours a week. and a couple of them's already doing the barrel welds. So that's pretty impressive.
So there is opportunity for somebody entry level to get in and make a career of
Yes,
this.
ma'am.
That's
For
right.
sure.
That's so important to note.
And we've had a lot of luck with Big Sandy Community College coming out of their welding program. Another degree that we've hired several people. Degrees they have is the general
Industrial
maintenance. Yes, that's been a very good degree for us, for employee to have.
Okay.
Because they understand blueprints, they know how to read, tape measure, which is pretty important when you're manufacturing.
You think?
Yeah.
The only thing I know about it is measure twice, cut once. Is that fair?
Correct. Yes. Yes.
And that's just because I hear my husband say it, and I'm sure really what that
He's
means.
right.
I'll try to remember that. He gets to be right every now and then.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate this so much. It's been a great conversation. I think we've learned a lot. And again, you could be very open and honest. Have there been challenges that you have encountered since you started?
I don't think we've had any significant challenges. I mean, there's always we've had a very, very small. We've had very little turnover, but we have had a few individuals where it didn't work out for one reason or another. But
Sure.
that's common to any business. I think we would not be very honest if we were to say that every person we hired worked out.
It's
But
a miracle.
Yes, but I would say that well over 95% of who we hired has worked out and has stayed with us. In fact, we've even seen a couple of folks who moved on because the grass looked greener on the other side and have actually asked to come back.
Did you let them?
Yes,
Okay.
because they're the best advertisement I could ever make.
There you go.
I don't need to say a word.
Yeah.
They're going to tell the share their experience, because obviously it's like, oh, you're back. What happened? And I think that's a good thing. You know, so we don't close doors. Again, we look at the person first and foremost. And I think once you know you've got something to work with, then you can develop them. And then that's our job as an employer, is to find out what makes that work for that person, and then within our structure, be able to optimize that and get them to be successful, because their success is our success at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's a great point to make. So Appalachia does work, and it works for Appalachian Tank,
Yes, ma'am.
obviously. I want to thank BitSource for beginning this series, because it's giving us a great opportunity, again, to kind of uncover things that people might not know, because you guys are up there working. You might want to tell people where you are.
Sure. Well, we're at 479 Industry Drive
Okay.
in Pikeville. There is an 479 Industrial Drive, but that's not where we are.
That's not confusing at all.
No, not at all.
You put it in Google Maps. We've had a lot of trucks pull into the Coca-Cola plant.
Ah, okay. But you are at the Kentucky Enterprise Industrial Park.
Yes.
That is correct.
So we should make
Yes.
that point as well.
Yes.
Not that you're inviting people to visit or anything, but if somebody wants to come in and put in an application, that's where they would come.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Absolutely.
how has that park worked for you guys, that location?
It's worked fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. We're only one of two businesses up there, so it's relatively quiet. There's no traffic. It's pretty easy to get in and out, and that's also good for our commercial traffic too.
Yeah.
So the location has worked out well for us.
One other thing I think I should make a point to ask about is that, Elmon, you told me you guys use local whenever you can, however you can. Can you talk about that just a minute?
Yes. All of our tanks are hauled by a local company. He like I said, Neil said we ship about 4 tanks a week. We have a parts Denny Roar American Metal.
Yep.
Does a lot of our fab parts for us. You think of
Yeah, and then of course, all our welding supplies
yes,
is also, we're using local business. So that is, again, part of our corporate culture priority, to support local business as much as we can. And, basically what Elmon covered is correct. And we're always looking for other opportunities where we can support business, also on signage and different things that are sort of peripheral to our actual core competencies, but still things we need as part of running a business.
Yes.
Great. It really sounds like you've dug in and you're going to stay.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Well,
it's been
good.
a big investment in time, money, and effort, and so we are committed.
And we're glad that you're here. I thank you so much for sharing all of this. I've certainly been enlightened. I had no idea what Appalachian Tank. I knew you were there, but I didn't know what you were doing. And the idea that you're shipping 4 tanks out every single week, basically all over the Southeast United States, is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right. Well,
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
Thank you.
Looking
Appreciate
forward
it.
to talking some more sometime soon.